Oh, dude. How's it going, bro?
Really good, dude. It's so amazing. I
Hell
freaking love
yeah,
life.
man.
Yeah. What are we doing?
What do you think, man? Should we do this?
Man, I'm telling you, the world is not flat. Just saying.
Are you sure about that, though? The world isn't flat, bro. I mean,
I'm pretty sure about that.
there is people that are pretty sure.
I see that. But you know what else I'm sure about?
What?
I'm pretty sure this is an awesome song. And this is some good shit right here for our
I know, right?
Should we get into it?
Let's do it. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So, yeah, dude, I have been listening to a lot of good music lately, and it's just there's a lot of talent in the world.
I know, right?
You know what I mean?
I mean, dude,
Pretty impressive to see what's happening.
especially today. Like, I know for me, it's always a marvel to see, um, how talented people are, in our day and age, and people have always been talented. But it's beautiful to see how accessible, I guess, the world is, to be what you want to be, and how we've been able to recognize so much talent,
Oh
especially
yeah,
in the last 2 decades.
and a big part of that is you ever notice that people are really good at making tools? Like we got these opposable thumbs on our hands, and we figured out that with these we could make some tools. So we made hella tools.
Yeah.
Because it gives us like this gripping ability that no other life form has. We went and started out pretty primitive, but our tools that we have now are pretty incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, should we talk about some world drama?
Hell yeah, dude. World drama. Here we go, baby.
So let's talk about the Democratic debates because that's the thing that happened
Yeah, and as we all
before the
know,
stuff we're gonna talk about after.
yeah, next year, 2020 is presidential election year, and so obviously, this year is kind of when we start to see politics ramp up to that, and yeah, that's
Oh
kind of what's
man,
been
dude,
going on for the last 2 weeks.
the big damn popularity contest going on right now.
Yeah.
Pretty big thing. It's kind of neat to watch, but it's also kind of interesting how a lot of times it descends into insults and
Yeah,
accusations.
yeah, that's kind of the other side of the coin to what I said a minute ago, and it's sad to say this, but it's true, and that is, to see, as a result of how accessible our world is, and the level of technology, it also not only does it enable us to see the best in ourselves and the talented part of us humans, but it also makes the worst of us accessible as well.
Yeah, but I don't feel like all of them are really like none of those people running for president are really bad people for the most
No,
part.
no,
They try to make themselves look as good as possible and then try to find all the things bad about their opponents, and that's kind of, I mean, I know they say that's what politics is, but it's kind of turn off. It's kind of like it leaves a bad taste in our mouths when we get involved with politics. And I think this could be a lot of what drives voters away because they're just like, well, it's so contentious and kind of gets negative sometimes. And they don't want to really get involved in it because of that.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I've sort of followed the debates here, but you know quite a bit more about that than me. So, what? Excuse me. What was your takeaway from this week's debates? There was,
Well, dude, I feel like that the Democratic Party has, and not just the Democratic Party, but especially the Democratic Party, they kind of embrace the fringe issues a lot more than most people. So the issues that are sensitive and sometimes difficult to talk about, these are the ones they focus on a lot. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it goes also, it kind of leads into where you have this rise of radical thought, of radical ideas coming into the presidential election. And it's not just them, it's on both sides. I mean, we've seen this rise in the last few years of radicalism in America, where all different races, ethical groups, religions, I mean, they want to each get out and start a movement, start a revolution, you know,
yeah,
get fight for my cause. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but maybe politics isn't the best place for that kind of thing to happen. And I think when we start drifting towards, and one could say that this is not a big radical idea, you know, healthcare for all, but for many Americans, that is pretty radical. That's a very radical idea to introduce into politics because this country was built off of maximizing choice.
yeah,
You know, that's what is freedom, if not the most choices you can have, right?
yeah, yeah,
So, to many Americans, including myself, that idea is very radical, and most of the party has pretty much adopted this view of healthcare as a right.
yeah,
Now, I suppose that could be a good thing, you know, if we actually were able to have advanced as a nation and a group of people to the point where everybody can have their health needs taken care of without really costing much to anyone in particular. Hell yeah, that would be awesome. You know, in an ideal world, that's what we would have, right? We would get rid of disease. Everyone would have access to healthcare, and if we actually were able to create a system where that worked without taking people's choices away, I would be for it. I mean,
yeah,
hell yeah.
yeah,
But, you know, people like Bernie, they start saying these things and it leaves them wide open to attack from the other side of the aisle.
yeah. And one thing that just came up for me when you said that, the last couple of years have seen kind of these different radical movements, and I can't help but wonder if a certain person is partly to he sort of started that movement, I
You're
guess.
talking about Trump?
I sure am, our very own president. And anyone that knows me knows that I'm no fan of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Um, and so, but I don't know. It feels like to me, and politics were pretty crazy before he ever came along, but it just kind of
Oh,
feels
yeah.
like they got a whole lot crazier.
Well, oh, they did. They did. They definitely did. But a lot of people see Donald Trump as the answer to the rise of radicalism. And, um, you know, even when he was elected, you have a lot of Americans who are quite well, not radically, but quite strongly opposed to a lot of the radical ideas you hear from. Now, um, this would include things like gun control. And this is another thing. In the Democratic debates, they address gun control, but they never address the argument against more gun control. They never even look at it. See, every single one of the people that address gun control, they will say things like this. They will say, I don't know why you need an AR-15 to hunt on the streets. I don't know why we need military grade weapons in people's homes. No self respecting hunter is going to use a military weapon of war to take down a deer. They completely forget the fact that the Second Amendment to the Constitution has nothing to do with hunting. It has nothing to do with survival. It is about protecting the rights that we fought for in the Revolution. It's about protecting freedom.
Yeah.
It's about not allowing more control.
Yep.
and they don't address this, and that's the thing. So there's things like healthcare and gun control that really, really divide these political parties.
Yeah.
And a lot of people see certain laws being passed that scare them, and Trump comes up and he's not afraid to say anything, and he promises he'll stand up for freedom and the American way, and he kind of says, let's limit the regulation, let's limit control, let's cut back on all these different regulation policies where the government gets way too involved, and this leads to the whole drain the swamp saying. Now, this could be a good thing for all Americans, but a lot of people fairly argue, and this is a true argument, this is not news, that big corporations love this idea of limit the government's involvement in anything. Don't let them get too much control over anything, especially business and market and free trade. So the money goes towards Trump to support him, a
Yeah.
lot of money, because people don't like regulation, and I don't blame them. A lot of too much government regulation is never a good thing, but we should be very careful in where we do and don't have it. Look
Yeah.
at where it works, look at where it doesn't, figure out what works.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, speaking of do you mind if I sort of change lanes a little bit?
No, go ahead.
Speaking of our president, he is currently in South Korea.
Yeah.
And
No, he's
I
not in South Korea, is
yeah,
he? Thought he was in Japan.
no, he's in South Korea right now.
Oh, so the G20 was in Japan, but that was yesterday, I guess.
Yeah. And last night he tweeted something. He said, let's see if I can find it here. I'm in Japan at the G20 representing our country well, but I've heard it was not a good day for Sleepy Joe or Crazy Bernie. One is exhausted, the other is nuts. So what's the big deal? Um, that's kind of hilarious, but that wasn't the tweet I was looking for. Um,
Yeah, he's not wrong. They did have a bad day yesterday.
yeah. Anyway, but he tweeted in regards to Chairman Kim of North Korea and said that he said he would be in South Korea today, and that if Chairman Kim was willing, President Trump wanted to meet him down at the border, at the demilitarized zone, and shake his hand and say hello, unquote.
Huh.
And that
Just
that
kind of
was
make contact.
yeah, yeah.
That's actually kind of cool. I like that. Hell yeah, Mr. President. I like that. If you can just show him, look, let's continue our conversation. Let's not get into threat making. Let's not make a dangerous situation. As difficult as it might be, let's keep talking. Let's hash it out until we figure out what we're going to do, and let's not. And that's kind of a gesture, That's kind of it could be taken from Chairman Chim or tongue twister. Chairman Kim's point of view is a sign of respect. It's I haven't forgotten about you. I want to work with you, and I like that. I say hell yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's the outside the box thinking that a lot of people like about Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll agree with that. That it when I first saw it, it kind of struck me as, whoa, this is the president of the United States.
Oh, he's gonna
I'm
get
just
criticized
I'm
a
just
lot
gonna
for it.
wander down to the demilitarized zone and shake hands with an evil dictator. That could be seen, as that way by a lot of people. But you do have a point as well.
Oh, and it will. It will be seen that way, but any sort of dialogue, in my opinion, that is not violent is better.
Than violence. I agree.
Yes. You know what? While we're on the subject of dialogue over violence, I want to talk about Tulsi Gabbard a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So, she's one of the Democratic candidates. She was the most searched name on Google after the first night of debates. Out of anyone in the world on Google, she was the most searched name.
That's funny that you would say that, because guess who searched Tulsi Gabbard on YouTube the night after the first Democratic debate?
Same, same, same. I did
Uh,
too. I actually did. I searched on Google too. So she got a lot of people's attention apparently.
yeah,
Um,
that's good.
and one of oh yeah, I love it. One of the things that people attack her on big time is that back in 2011, right after or was right around the same time as the start of the civil war in Syria, uh, she traveled to Syria, to the Middle East to talk, to see the situation for herself because it had come to Congress's attention. And I think it was right around the time the Civil War was breaking out. Anyway, while she was there with a news crew following her, and this was right after she was elected into Congress, too. This was right after she became a congresswoman. Assad somehow contacted her and he said, "Would you like to have an interview with me on camera to take home? You know, would you like to hear what I have to say
So he
publicly?"
contacted her.
Yes, it started with him. He reached out to her and he said, "Would you like to have a conversation? Would you like to hear my side of the story?"
Hmm.
And she said yes. She jumped at the opportunity. She got the news, the cameras, and she had an on-camera interview with uh, Bashir al-Assad. And he's considered by most of the world to be a dictator of Syria. So this is something that a lot of people attack her on. Even the other day, Ben Shapiro called her Assad's favorite candidate for president. He was very careful to make sure
Oh
he
boy.
pointed out that she was friendly to Assad. Now, you got to understand a couple of things here. He is a Jew. He is from the Jewish community. He's an Orthodox Jew, which is cool. I actually kind of like that about him. He's very conservative, and that's one of the things I love about him. But there is a lot of hard feelings between Syria and Israel, and has been for a long time. And Israel is part of his community. He's part of the Israeli Jewish community. So
Yeah.
I get it. I
Yeah.
do.
Sure.
And to be fair, there's been a lot of violence. But the thing that I respected about Tulsi doing this is that she said, "Look, he's offering to talk. We should always hear what our enemies have to say.
Yeah.
Always."
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I see that. It was very interesting to get her point of view on that, which is, he reached out to her, and she's like, yeah, let's let's do it. And I saw a conversation between her and Joe Rogan about that just the other day, and it
Yeah.
was it was very interesting because she's very aware, or was very aware of what that certain Americans would think or whatever, but ultimately she felt like that good would come of it, and it did. And so, yeah, I think it took guts, honestly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I agree. And she was probably aware that she would be attacked on it.
Yeah, especially
But
after just getting elected into
oh yeah.
Congress, and all
Oh yeah.
that. So, yeah,
Well, and another part of this too is uh Ben Shapiro, especially, he considers himself a libertarian, but he's conservative. And the Republican Party is the openly conservative party.
yeah,
And the Democratic Party, especially in the last few years, has become sort of anti-conservative, break out of the shells of what's normal, don't hold to these stupid moral ideals that we held for so long that might have been not such a good idea. There is some of that, but uh, I tend to be a little bit conservative myself. So
yeah.
anyway, to anyone that's interested, I definitely, from what I've seen so far, and this could change, but I definitely would vote for Tulsi Gabbard right now
Yeah.
as president. I definitely would.
Okay. That's awesome. Well, um,
I want to talk about the G20 just a little
okay,
bit more. Have
okay.
you seen much about that?
No, I heard him mentioned several times, but no, I didn't really see how that went.
So Trump is under a lot of criticism for some of the way he talked to Vladimir Putin. Apparently, some of the reporters that were there challenged him to tell President Putin to not interfere with our next election. And he kind of laughed. Like Trump actually kind of laughed, and he kind of looked at Putin and he's like, don't interfere with our election this time, please." And then he looked at Putin's aides, the people around Putin and some of his staff, and he said the same thing. He's like, "Don't interfere with our election this time." But
Oh, okay.
he didn't look very serious. Like I'll be honest with you, he was kind of laughing when he said it. And
Well, it's
Putin
interesting.
had a big old smile on his face.
It's interesting that you pointed out that he said it to Putin and then said it to his aides as well.
His staff, yeah. Yeah.
Because, whether there was or was not interference in the election, which I don't feel like there was interference from Russia in our election.
Oh,
But
I definitely think there was, but who's responsible is a
yeah,
bigger question.
well, so whether there was or was not, that doesn't necessarily mean Putin is directly responsible for it.
Yeah, he might not even be aware that it's happening. I
Yeah,
mean, it could be completely criminal underground that's doing it.
exactly. I mean, look at the Russian. Yeah, yep, yeah,
No, but there is definite the evidence that interference physically from a physical location came from Russia in our election is overwhelming. It was definitely real. People located inside Russia, inside Moscow and some of the bigger cities in Russia, intentionally got involved in driving a divide between the left and right in the election, between Hillary Clinton
yeah.
and Donald Trump.
And if that's the case, wow, did they ever succeed? I mean, yeah, definitely.
There's no evidence that they succeeded in influencing the vote. Most of what they seemed to be able to do was to kind of spark a lot of controversy and a lot of accusations, kind of get people to polarize a little bit.
Yeah,
The tribalism was increased between sides big time,
yeah,
which is a little bit scary.
yeah. But
So
yeah, shifting gears back to the G20. Apparently, President Trump did have a pretty good time there. He actually just tweeted, "The leaders of virtually every country that I met at the G20 congratulated me on our great economy. Many countries are having difficulties on that score. We have the best economy anywhere in the world with great and united potential looking into our future."
oh yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he obviously feels pretty good about it. And so,
Well,
yeah,
some
that's
of the
awesome.
foreign leaders of people that are deeply involved with the United States, the superpowers, they're actually quite respectful of Donald Trump himself. I don't get the impression that they respect his cabinet very much, but they know Trump, and Trump has been on the world stage long before he was president. They all know who he is.
Yeah.
So, the president of China sought him out and shook his hand, apparently anxious to have a conversation. So that's kind of neat. We can
Yeah.
end these trade wars before they get any more out of hand.
Yeah,
Okay, one
because,
more thing in world drama. Uh, there's a heat wave traveling over Europe. France, in particular, got hit
mhm.
hard.
Hmm.
Uh, Apparently, the jet streams are starting to wobble,
Oh, that's
and
not good.
this drives hot and cold air into these swirling systems that are very large because the jet stream is no longer there to separate the hot and cold air as much and be the blender. And so you get these large cold and hot fronts moving in. You remember that breath of cold air that hit like Chicago and the surrounding area, like all of the north Midwest United States
Yeah.
got slammed by record lows.
Yep.
And then France hit 114 today.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
hot even for here. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Wow.
They said back in 2003 there was another heat wave similar to this that was almost as bad, and almost 70,000 people across Europe died from it.
Wow.
So
Well,
that is actually quite terrifying. I mean,
yeah, and those kinds of high temperatures, especially that north, at
yeah,
that far
people just
north of
aren't
the
prepared.
equator. I mean, France. I don't know.
France is a fairly temperate climate.
Yeah,
It gets cold there in the wintertime.
yeah, it's pretty far north. It's yeah. So wow, yeah,
It's about like
that's crazy.
Oregon in climate generally.
Yep.
Um, so now 114. At first, when I first started hearing this story, I was like, "Oh, come on!" I mean, I've worked in 120-degree weather, and
Yeah.
it's hot, but it's not killer hot. But then I realized that the temperature gets up to 103 for the first time, and I do find myself in a position where I have to be careful because I could physically be very harmed
Well,
if I allowed my body temperature to get out of control, and it could.
yeah, but also the thing you have to realize, 114 degrees, in Arizona is one thing, but then think about that in southern Canada, which is, well, I don't,
Yeah,
France is, it's compared about the same. What is that, longitude or latitude? I can't remember which one runs the same way as the equator.
it'd be longitude.
Yeah, longitude. As that, and so think of 114 degrees there. That's nuts.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is pretty crazy, and I get why it would be very devastating. I mean, people die in Phoenix every year from the heat,
Yeah.
and that's about 114 is about your average high in Phoenix during the summer,
Yep.
and that is very hot. People
Mm-hmm.
die from it all the time. And I remember Phoenix, dude, in June is freaking. It's an oven. Wow. I was only like 7 years old, 6 years old, and it was an oven to me. Like it was hot.
Yeah. AC has,
Oh
you
yeah.
got to have some pretty good AC to control that. So.
Yep. So Wayne, you got any world drama you want to talk about?
Well, honestly, like, I I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Um, no,
Did we
not
cover
really.
it pretty well? We
I feel like you
covered
covered it
most of
great,
the
man.
world drama.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, should we talk about science for a minute?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Science is cool.
So you're into rockets and space flight and aviation and all that good shit that NASA gets involved in. What do you think of the Falcon Heavies?
Um wow. Well,
Elon Musk.
yeah, I feel like the Falcon Heavy is honestly one of the greatest feats of engineering, honestly, of our century. Like
It was pretty impressive.
we have done some pretty amazing things, but that's pretty freaking cool. Um, and yeah, especially I remember that first launch, and it was pretty amazing to see something that big, just shoot right up into the sky. And yeah, they've launched a couple here in the last couple of weeks now, and so yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it is very impressive. And that first launch, dude, to see those two Falcon 9 boosters just sat down right next to each other at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That the very thought of landing something shaped like that, based on my knowledge of aerodynamics, is a straight up crazy. Like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is a level of precision engineering that is craziness. Way
Yep.
beyond. Very impressive stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, wow, Elon Musk, dude, what a man, what a guy. He's he's just an amazing human.
Oh yeah. No, that guy is like way brilliant. I mean, we're talking some Einstein, Stephen Hawking level genius going on up in
Oh,
here right now.
at least.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant man. I mean, dude, he's kind of been a role model of mine. Like I see what he does and I'm like, well, yeah, if I was a millionaire with tons of money, of course I would build rockets and electric cars and dig giant pits in the middle of LA. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What did we do when we were kids playing out in the dirt? We had cars driving on our little roads and we had little toy rockets and we went and dug holes in the backyard. I mean, come on, let's go have some fun.
Yeah. Yep.
Not to mention that a lot of what he does brings real positive change in the world.
Yeah. No, I think
I
it's
mean,
awesome.
the electric, you have electric solar power or solar panel roofing that he's working on creating, which would give so many people independence with clean energy that has absolutely no pollution
Yeah.
into our world.
No carbon footprint.
That is incredible. That is a brilliant idea. That is something. I mean, it's like Peter Griffin would say, "Why are we not funding this? Why are we not interested in this? This is huge. This
Yep.
is amazing." And yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, dude, do you think the Falcon Heavy, like, how much do you know about these rockets?
Well, I know that the Falcon Heavy is essentially like three Falcon 9s kind of strapped together,
Hooked
and
together? Yeah, they use the same engines as the
yeah,
Falcon
yeah,
9.
the Merlin engines,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then it just has I mean, that thing has a freaking massive payload. It's yeah,
Do you think it's I get the impression based on the way it's been used so far and the way they talk about it that it's not really meant for manned missions, but if I'm not mistaken, could it not carry the Dragon spacecraft that SpaceX is currently in the process of developing?
as
The human capsule?
far as I know, I think I did see somewhere where they said that it was a possibility that they could strap that thing to the top of it.
Yeah, because in 3 years, SpaceX has two contracts, I guess, apparently, to fly two very wealthy individuals who have asked that their names be kept secret around the moon in the Dragon spacecraft. And I don't know if they were going to use the Falcon Heavy or not, but they might. And even Elon Musk did mention using the Falcon Heavy in Mars supply missions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So let's look this up real fast. I want to know what the Dragon spacecraft capsule. Dragon is a reusable cargo spacecraft developed by SpaceX, an American. Oh, this isn't even the human. Oh, okay. It's a reusable spacecraft that can be recovered from orbit. Really? I didn't even know about that.
So yeah, I know that the Falcon Heavy, I was looking at this right here, has more lift capability than any other operational rocket with a payload of 64,000 kilograms. That's
Wow. So,
141,000 pounds to low Earth orbit.
uh, yeah, that is the Saturn V was a lot more than that, but we don't use those
Yeah, they're not
anymore.
operational. It looks like 16,800 or kilograms or 37,000 pounds to Transmars injection. Which I mean, dude, 37,000 pounds. That's a pretty good amount of stuff. Um,
Oh yeah, it's a big rocket.
yeah,
So apparently, the Dragon 2 is the reusable spacecraft developed by SpaceX, intended to be the successor to the Dragon cargo spacecraft. This one has windows and can take a crew, and it launches aboard the Falcon 9. So you could put a crew with the Dragon 2 at the ISS with the Falcon 9. Although to go around the moon, you would probably need the Falcon Heavy just to give it enough,
enough
give it up to
oomph.
escape velocity and enough momentum to get around the moon.
Yeah. Yep.
So, as far as I know, have they successfully landed the core of the Falcon Heavy yet?
I am not sure. I
Because I
don't
don't
know.
think I saw the second launch. I saw the first launch, and they did not successfully land the core. And I saw the third launch, and they also missed the landing. That's the one where he was like, the core of the Falcon Heavy experienced a rapid unscheduled disassembly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, an unscheduled rapid disassembly. So that was just a few days ago. I don't know if they ever successfully. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm not gonna do it right now because it would take more time than I want to spend on it. But
Well, it says
I'll look
each
that up.
core is equivalent to the first stage of a Falcon 9 and houses
Yeah.
9 engines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Well, because the engines are the little tiny thrusters on the bottom that, well, they're not tiny, but the entire system that powers it up. So the Falcon 9, yeah, has 9 engines. But the boosters that they strap on the side of the Falcon Heavy are the same thing. They just have less fuel.
Yeah, so the Falcon Heavy actually has it's got 3 of those first
Mm-hmm.
stages, which equates to 27 of those.
28, 28. Wait, is it 27? Yeah,
Yeah,
27. Wow.
27 of those
27
Merlin
engines.
engines,
Wow.
which
Dang.
is nuts. I mean, that's more than 5 million pounds of force thrust at liftoff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you would need that to, dude, Earth escape velocity from Earth is 12, almost 12 miles. Actually, it's more than 12 miles a second. It's fast.
Yeah.
To break out of Earth's orbit, you got to haul ass.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, Falcon Heavy,
Oh,
my ultimate decision
yeah,
is pretty fucking cool.
pretty awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they have designed something they call the BF, the BFR, and we'll just say that stands for Big Falcon Rocket. Um, because the F could obviously mean other things. But anyway, so that's not been built yet, but it will be in the next few years.
Yeah.
Um,
That'll be pretty cool. I mean, the BFR, that's yeah.
that would
I'm
be
stoked for
actually
that.
more powerful than the Saturn V. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. So I also want to talk about the speed of light just a little bit here. You know how the scientists always say if you want a Nobel Prize in physics, figure out why there's no antimatter and only matter, or figure out what happened right at the beginning of the Big Bang and why the Big Bang happened, or figure out how gravity fits into uh, the other 3 fundamental forces of the universe. Make one theory that compiles all of those things. But what they don't ever say, and this is interesting, is break the speed of light. Figure out a way around it,
Yeah.
because we're gonna have to. Physics says it can't be done, but we are not going to have a choice if we want to maintain a well-united civilization across multiple worlds, which is what it's coming to. We're headed in that direction. We have to. It's the only thing that we can do if we're going to keep growing and keep expanding.
Yep.
So if we want to maintain communication, and this is already happening, the proposed Titan lander,
Yeah.
that is like a little quadcopter,
Little
a little
drone.
drone,
Yep.
has to be almost entirely autonomous because it's 45 minutes at its
Because
closest
of the
point
latency. Yeah.
for light. Yeah, which is craziness. I mean, that is far away. That is a lot of miles away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you want to get a Nobel Prize in physics, find a way around the speed of light.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, no, honestly, I feel like yeah, we everything says, all the physics and everything say, we can't go faster than the speed of light, but honestly, we going to have to.
We're going to have to find a way around it or break it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Um, but there is also another side of this, and this is true. When you start talking about breaking the speed of light and stepping around it, it brings up a lot of questions about the very fundamental nature of reality that we haven't answered yet. So, big thing there.
Yeah.
Because really, from what we know, and this is trippy, but if you say that if you were to go less than the amount of time it takes to get to Titan at the speed of light, if you were to somehow break that, you would be going backwards in time, quite literally. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, yeah, as
because
far as
by
what
the
I
time
know.
you arrived on Titan, the image of you arriving on Titan would not have traveled to the observers from Earth.
Yeah.
So we would not see it. It would have happened quite literally in the future for us and in the past for them, which, again, a mind fuck. How do you even explain this shit?
Yep.
We don't quite get the nature of understand or of reality yet. There's a lot of questions we still have about the way that all works. But yeah, figure that out and be the most famous scientist in the world, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, Art, Wayne, you know more about this than I do.
Art, huh? Well, yeah. Honestly, there's a lot going on in the world when it comes to arts, and my favorite form of art, I feel like, is music. That's what I excel at. That's what I love. That's how I express myself, and so it's what I like to talk about. And so yeah, um, as far as the music business today goes, pretty exciting things happening on the charts. At number one on the Billboard Top 100 is still Old Town Road, which is amazing to me. I mean, it's been 12 weeks solid at number one out of 16 weeks on the chart. I mean, that's just nuts. You don't see that kind of stuff
Damn.
very often. And
Yeah, so
so
it's
yeah,
popular. People like that shit.
yeah, they do. Which is pretty crazy to me. I don't really understand. It's not my favorite song. I'll be honest with you, but
Oh, really?
but yeah,
Yeah.
but it's there.
I don't think I've heard it. Oh, I have heard it actually.
Gonna take
It's not a
my
bad
horse
song.
to the old town road. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not a bad song.
yeah.
I can see
It's
why people like it, I suppose.
yeah.
It's
So
well
yeah,
done. It's well made.
yeah, yeah. It's okay, and Lil Nas, he's a talented kid. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that one goes. Number two, of course, Taylor Swift. You need to calm down. Um,
Oh Lord.
very politically charged lyrics in that one. Um,
Really? Taylor Swift is getting involved. Of course she is.
yeah, which is amazing. To me, it's kind of crazy, but
Well, hell yeah. If you pick a side, hell yeah, go for it, I guess.
yeah, and so yeah, that's a
Did she
thing.
rip on Trump?
Yeah, I kind of feel like that the whole song is sort of about Trump a little bit, honestly.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
so yeah.
Hell yeah.
Number three, Billie Eilish. Now this is kind
Wait,
of interesting.
seriously?
Yeah, Billie
What you
Eilish is Bad Guy. Um, that particular song, I actually kind of like it. It's grown on me a little bit. And yeah, it's I feel like it's inspirational in a peculiar way. Um, and yeah, one thing I've noticed about her is she's super open in her music, and she's inspired so many people in a relatively short amount of time. I mean, this song's been on the charts for 12 weeks, and it's pretty much stayed at the top that whole entire time. So kind of interesting. Move on down here. Number four, number five. You have Khalid and Ed Sheeran. Talk and I Don't Care, respectively. I Don't Care um, is kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a new thing for Ed Sheeran. He did a collaboration with Justin Bieber on that. And so, yeah, kind of interesting.
Hey, can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah.
Do you think Billie Eilish is the one who made the platinum blonde hair a thing?
What do you mean? She don't have platinum blonde hair.
She did for a while.
Maybe. I mean, like, I don't know. It's possible, I guess.
It looks
Honestly,
good on her though.
yeah, honestly, I don't really know that much about Billie
She's
Eilish.
a
She's kind of
trip,
been,
dude.
yeah, she's,
She's a model too, but she's a trip. I just looked her up here while you were talking about her, and she's an interesting. She's got some interesting ways of expressing herself.
yeah, like I said, she's kind of got, yeah. But it's not all bad, I think a lot of that it's kind of part of what we were talking about back, in the political side of things, and that is, I guess not that radical really applies here, but like to for people
Different,
to
that's for
come
sure.
out and express themselves and not be afraid to you know be them,
No, I
to
love
be
that, dude. I
original.
love that. I love that in people.
Yeah,
I love it when people do that. That's awesome. I mean, have you seen my haircut?
yeah, I mean, dude, you
Hell
know
yeah.
you know
I love it. That's awesome.
yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the all genres top charts. Moving
Oh,
over to
really?
the country side of things. Um, we got Blake Shelton's "God's Country" is at the top, and
Oh boy, that sounds political right
that's
away.
kind of interesting.
Wow.
Well, it's
Actually,
actually
you
not.
know, it's interesting. The fact that I say that it sounds political is kind of sad.
Yeah, it's actually not though, which is interesting. It's
Yeah,
it's not that
that's good.
political. Um,
Good.
so yeah, that's at number one. It's an okay song. It's pretty country, you know. Kind of. I don't really know how you'd say that. Just like doesn't really care what anybody thinks. He's kind of original Blake Shelton stuff. So it's
Oh
good.
yeah.
Number two, we've got my boy Morgan Wallen. He's killing it on the charts with his song "Whiskey Glasses." It's been on the charts for 36 weeks, and it's basically killed it
Wow.
that whole time. It shot up to number one, and it's been hovering around the top for most of that. So yeah, that's a
Dang.
good song. Kind of a little slower, but yeah. Number three, actually moving up, looks like "Rumor" by Lee Bryce. That's
That's a name I haven't heard in a while,
Lee
dude.
Bryce. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's sort of making a little bit of a comeback. Um,
Hell yeah.
yeah, it's higher than it's ever
Wow.
been right now.
That is
Um,
a name I have not heard for years.
yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then, of course, at number five, we have got the amazing artist that is Luke Combs with "Beer Never Broke My Heart," and that is just a good song. Um,
Classic. Sounds classic
it
country right
is, it
there.
is, it is. It's super
Beer never
good.
broke my heart. Man,
Yeah,
I love it. I love the name.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. If you haven't
Don't
heard
get
it,
more country
definitely,
than that, dude.
yeah, definitely go listen to that one. It's a good one.
So, what's your favorite music right now, dude? What have you been listening to lately?
So a lot of what I've been listening to, honestly, I've kind of I don't know. I've kind of swung back and forth a little bit, quite a bit in the last couple of weeks. Um, and I've been in the mood for new music a little. I'll get into these kind of moods, I guess you could say, where I want to hear new music. Um, and then there's sometimes where I just don't. I need the classics. And so yeah, I've been kind of exploring, what's hot And that's sort of where I sort of started listening to like even Billie Eilish, and Khalid, stuff like that. But not only that. I mean, there's some new country that's pretty good, and yeah, even rock that I haven't really heard before. That so yeah, just a
Yeah, dude,
lot of
I've been
stuff.
kind of bored with all my old music lately. Like I've been on the hunt for new music, and I found a little bit of good stuff. Um, I just you know how the subscription music streaming services work now. You can just select a song and have it pick a radio station based off similar music to that one song of
Yeah,
random, like a random playlist.
yeah,
I think Apple does that, but I know Spotify and Google Play Music both do that. And I did that with Sleeping with Sirens Legends.
mm-hmm.
I found a lot of good stuff, dude. Like the first 15 songs that played from that were just so good.
Huh.
I don't even remember all of them. I remember a few. There was Asking Alexandria's Alone in a Room, which I love. I mean, that song is good.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
love it. It's such a good song. And hold on. What's the give me 1 second here. I'm gonna look at what the other song was. I also found a song by We Came as Romans. Have you ever heard of them?
No, we came as Romans. Huh? I don't think so.
We Came as Romans. Yeah. Oh, Motionless in White. Motionless in White has a song called Voices that is kind of intense, but I really enjoyed that song.
Huh? That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, and guess what song ended up in that radio station? Awaken from League of Legends,
Oh yeah,
which I
dude.
love. Oh my word, I
Yeah,
love that song.
that's a good one. That's a
That
good
is
one.
such a good song. Um, and so did Rise from Smash Into Pieces.
Heck
Is
yeah,
another good
bro.
song. Or no, Rise and Shine. Rise and Shine.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, I've been listening to some just kind of metal alternative rock and roll lately. Been my That's always been my thing, but
Yeah.
looking for some new music in it. What do you think is your favorite song right now?
Ooh, favorite song right now. That's a hard one. That's a hard one, honestly. Um,
You know?
I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of Metallica. Um, and I would have to say that Metallica's Bleeding Me from the Load album it's probably about as close as it gets to my favorite right now. It's pretty good.
Nice.
And yeah,
That is a good song.
yeah,
Metallica has a lot of good music.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to say, give me 1 second to pick which song is my favorite song. Okay, I'm gonna have to say two because I'm having a hard time deciding. I'm gonna say "Legends" by Sleeping with Sirens is my first favorite song, and my second is "Loneliness" by Demon Hunter, and then either that one or "On My Side" by Demon Hunter. Both of those are so good.
Huh.
Demon Hunter is one of the new artists I've been listening to lately that I haven't heard much before, and oh man, dude, their vocals and melodies, and then the percussive bass that they put into that sounds so good. Oh my word, it is a beautiful mix. Some of it's kind of dark a little bit, like they kind of have that gothic taste almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like if you had Five Finger Death Punch sung by someone with a really beautiful male voice. Oh, who has a good male voice? Like clear vocals. Like Bullet for My Valentine's lead singer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of that smooth, very clean, No harsh growling, very clean sound, and it sounds amazing too.
That's
Or
cool.
have you ever heard Camelot, dude?
Yeah.
Kind of like that, like his voice, which I also am a huge fan of. Dude, I love clean vocals. Like there's just something amazing about some really fine, clean vocals in songs. Like almost opera. There's even opera that I like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely feel that for sure. I've had, had some experiences where definitely I feel like, you know, a lot of clean vocals isn't all there is, for
No, no,
sure.
definitely not. But there is
But
something awesome about it when it's done well.
yeah. Yep.
But there's all kinds of good things you can do with the human voice, dude. There's like the screamo, the growls, the what do they call it? Tread?
Yeah,
What
the
is the thing
vocal
that?
fry
Oh,
type
fry,
stuff,
yeah.
yeah.
See, and it when done right, it's amazing. I mean, some of those artists that do the fry, even oh my word, John Bon Jovi, dude, I love his music so much. Oh my
Yep.
word. That is
Yep.
something. Whenever I need something to cheer me up, I'm gonna go listen to some Bon Jovi.
Get some good old living on a prayer going on there.
Oh man,
Yeah.
and it's my life. Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
Yep.
That was the golden age of music, dude.
Dude, oh yeah, definitely. The 80s is you know, I'm not afraid to
Classic rock
say
and
that
roll.
I feel like the 80s definitely, was the golden age for sure.
hmm
But
I think we'll see more golden ages though as
oh yeah.
technology
Oh yeah.
improves. So, what about movies?
Wow. Well, honestly, I haven't been out to see that many movies lately. The last one I went and saw was the new Men in Black International. Um, and that was just good. I mean, there is tons of comedy in that one. You got Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. I mean, they just killed it. It was absolutely amazing.
So,
So
so tell me a little bit about this movie. I haven't seen it yet, and I'm gonna watch it, but it's not something I'm invested in. So don't be afraid of spoilers, unless you don't want to spoil it for the audience, which I get.
well, yeah, no,
It's up to you.
it is. So for anyone that's seen Men in Black, they've all kind of taken place in New York.
Right.
But this one, as the name suggests, Men in Black International. Most of it
He
takes place in
goes,
Europe,
oh, so it's
London and
James Bond. Hell
London and
yeah.
Paris. Um,
Fuck yeah. Men in Black goes James Bond. I love it.
kind of, yeah. I mean, if you know, you've got, yeah, it's really
It'd be
good.
so cool to do a James Bond Men in Black crossover.
I
That would be awesome.
know, right? That
Oh,
would
that'd be
that would
cool.
actually be pretty epic. And honestly, like I didn't really ever think of this before, but it is kind of like that. I mean,
Oh
it kind of
yeah.
has the European taste to
That
it.
international
Yeah, I
suit
mean,
wearing
obviously you have Chris Hemsworth,
top
who
secret
is
government shit.
yeah, but then you
Yeah.
also have Liam Neeson, who is
Oh,
just
nice.
amazing. And so yeah, it does kind of have that feel to it, and yeah,
So, wait, is Liam Neeson in the new one
yeah.
in international?
Hmm.
Okay, so of out of Liam Neeson, Chris Hemsworth, and Tessa Thompson, which one do you think was the best actor in that movie? Based on their performance in that movie, which one was the best actor in the movie?
Honestly, I mean, I don't I don't really feel like I could say like that any one
Which
of
one
them
was your
are the
favorite?
best because like they're all so good. Um
Really?
oh yeah, dude, like they're
Okay,
just
but if you had to pick, which one would, if you were the judge in an award ceremony for best actor in Men in Black International, based off their performance in that single movie, which one would it be? Or you could say best performance in Men in Black International. If you were the judge given the award, which actor would it go to?
honestly, I'm I'm gonna have to say. I'm gonna have to say like Chris Hemsworth is my favorite, but honestly, Tessa Thompson did a
Yeah,
tremendous
I
job.
knew you were gonna say
She
that.
is just incredible. I mean,
That's awesome.
just like, yeah, wow, she's good.
No, she
So,
is.
yeah.
Wasn't she? She's the one in the Maze Runner, right?
I'm not sure. I haven't ever seen that one, but she is in the Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's look this up real fast. I'm pretty sure she was in the Maze Runner. It's been a while since I saw that movie.
But
Oh, maybe
honestly, I
not.
mean,
Maybe I'm tripping.
those three are all just so incredibly good. I mean, I love Chris Hemsworth. I mean, his work as Thor is just, it's, yeah, he's definitely one of my idols. Liam Neeson, I mean, God, man, don't get any better than that. He's just a fucking legend. So yeah, I mean, they all did an incredible job.
What about, would you give Tessa Thompson, do you think, the same rating as far as performance goes in Thor Ragnarok?
Uh,
Because I would. Dude, she was my
yeah,
favorite part of Ragnarok by far. Her whole little interaction with Hulk. Dude, that was my favorite part of the movie. Her little thing with Hulk.
yeah.
Oh my word. I could not get over it. I love
Anger
that.
girl.
Like,
Yeah,
I went and
yeah,
watched that so many times. Like, just everything about that scene. The
yeah,
the scenes with Hulk and her and Thor going in
yeah.
to their little
Well, like
squabbles, dude. Everything about that was
she's
so
like,
good.
yeah, she's leaving, and Thor like turns to Hulk, and he's like, "Make her stay." And so Hulk grabs the bedpost thingy and chucks it, and like lands in front of her. He's like, "Stay." She all turns around, and Hulk, please. It's so good,
I
so
love
good, man.
I love it. Yeah, whoever wrote that, the directing, the performance, the acting, all of it, just good job, team. I mean,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
One of my
Definitely one of
favorite
my
scenes of the
favorites out of
year.
the MCU for sure. For
Oh
sure.
yeah, out of the whole. It's good too because they had to rescue Thor after Thor: The Dark World. My God.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely they had to sort
But
of
I
redeem
think that was just
themselves.
bad writing in that movie. The
Yeah.
acting was good. The story was just horrible.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
not a good
it's just
story. I didn't like it.
yeah. Yep. Wow. Well, we are cooking along here.
What's our time? I actually
We're
haven't been
just
paying
past
attention.
hour and two.
Hour and two. Oh, we can go
Yeah,
for a little
so
longer. We have a little bit more to talk about, I think.
okay.
What do you think of Avengers Endgame?
Um I mean, obviously
What's your
I went and saw
what's your
Endgame,
take
and
on that? Yeah.
Endgame is just it's amazing. I mean, it's a feat in and of itself. Um I'm
Yeah.
not sure though what I think of the new like I don't know. I don't really know what they're trying to prove by adding the whatever it is they're adding to it. Um I don't
Like, what do
know.
you mean?
I
Like,
don't
what are they adding that you don't like?
well, I don't know that I don't know that I don't like it. I'm just saying I don't know
Well,
what they're going to do to it that is going to be more awesome than it already is. I mean,
but what are you talking about? Like adding the are you talking about the little Easter eggs for Galactus or some of the other big villains in the Marvel
is that
universe?
what they're doing?
There is some of that.
Yeah. And
There is some of that, but like there's also just they changed a lot of it from the comic books to make it more compatible for a film, but
yeah.
um like what do you mean though? Like does it feel off a little bit to you?
Well, no, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Apparently, from what I've seen, they're telling people that like it's worth going back to the theater and
Oh, you're talking about the
watching it again.
extended version.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
so, what exactly Marvel or Kevin Feige or whoever is trying to accomplish with that, I'm not sure. But
I'll bet you I know. It's probably something to do. I bet you there's like some sort of dispute between the director and the producers about how they want to present the story or what they want to keep and not keep. And maybe they just decided to make it a little bit. Wait, what was the runtime on the original
oh
Endgame?
gosh, was it about 3 hours? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
if I remember right, it was about 3 hours.
Yeah, it was
So,
pretty long.
oh yeah. So I would imagine that maybe the time limit, if nothing more, is why now they're like, okay, well that was awesome and we did a good job, but what if we just put whatever we want into it? What if we take our time telling this story?
Yeah,
Give people a bigger look at it, all of it. They probably have a lot of unused scenes that they filmed and they want to use them,
yeah,
which is cool. Like I like it. But I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I kind of wanted to watch Captain Marvel first, but it's out on digital now, so I'm gonna go watch it. I'll probably rent it from YouTube or something this weekend or next weekend, and then I'll go watch the extended edition of Avengers in theaters of Endgame
yeah,
because I didn't. I missed Captain Marvel and I did want to see it first. I wanted to watch it before I watch Endgame because I think it has something to do with it.
yeah. No, it does.
Yep.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Well, what's been on your mind lately, dude? What you been thinking about?
Wow.
What
Me?
what you been focusing on in your mind the last few days or weeks or however long?
Well, so I don't know. I've sort of been uh, focusing a lot on my work. Um,
Yeah,
you know, I
same.
I sort of I sort of for a long time kind of took took my job. I guess I don't know. I guess you could say took it lightly or whatever. I didn't really take it very seriously.
Yeah,
And you know, I still don't really feel like that work is everything, and that it's like
it's not your
it's
life.
not
Yeah, I
my
get you.
life,
I
but
feel you there.
I've been taking it a little more seriously. Especially with the possibility of me getting promoted. Just been spending a lot more time there, putting in more
Oh yeah.
hours. Um, so yeah, that's been a thing, and I just yeah,
That's what you've been doing, huh?
yeah.
Hell yeah.
I have. I guess you'd say I have stuff on my mind all the time, and but I, I, I don't I don't feel like that. I want to let it consume me. But I do feel
Right.
like it is good to feel things out and to have
Oh yeah.
to have things
Yeah.
on the mind. And so yeah, it's
Hell yeah, dude. I've been working quite a bit myself lately.
yeah. What
But
about you?
yeah, hell, dude, being in the construction business, it's not as steady as the kind of work you do, and a lot of times whenever there's a moment to go hard and get a big chunk of money, that's how it goes.
Yeah,
It's fairly steady, but we'll end up with a week or sometimes a little more than a week off now and then. And so if I'm not careful, I'm way better at spending money than I like to admit. And then, sometimes I'm not as prepared for taking big chunks of time off. So I like to work hard and I like to have enough money when it comes time to take a week or a week and a half off that I can just do whatever I want. Like I can go have a damn good time, spend a lot of money and not be broke afterwards.
yeah,
But that means cramming my ass off when there is money available to get.
yeah,
So
yep.
yeah, I feel you. I've been doing that lately. But the things that I have been a lot on my mind lately, I've been wanting to do this podcast for a long time now, and it's good to roll it around the head for a while and think about how we could do it and get comfortable with the idea. And I think we've done that quite a bit. And I would love to like turn it into a business, turn it into something that people are like to hear, people are entertained by. Yeah, I'd love to go as far as we can with it.
Yeah.
Um, I also just have been having a lot of fun lately, dude. I went and got a GoPro, go run around having some adventures, making filming that shit. In fact, I might use some of it for background footage on this if I put this on YouTube. I don't know. It could be fun. But if I was gonna make background footage, I could do a lot with that. It's pretty open creativity there that I love. I love doing that stuff. So I might use some of my GoPro footage for it. Um, yeah, I've also been writing a lot. Like my brain gets digging into my writing, and I go nuts, and that's a lot of fun. That is a blast. I have like a blank page to me, dude. There is so much untapped potential for creativity in one page. I can just take that and it's like a whole universe right there that I can make.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate freedom of just going places. My imagination can go crazy. It's so much fun. Yeah, writing is I didn't really expect it, but it became a passion of mine very quickly.
Yeah.
Like when I started doing it, I got passionate about it right away.
Yeah.
So
That
that's
is awesome, and
yeah.
that's definitely something that I'm excited about. Uh, you know, your writing is definitely inspired me. So
Hell yeah. Well, thank you. That's awesome. That is the goal of any art, I suppose, is to inspire.
yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's some studies that say that art actually originates from autism and brain damage.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Is that crazy or what? But
Kind of.
apparently, the theory is that, and a good way to describe it is that the brain was so, the survival way of life, the hunter gatherer survival mentality that was the human way for so long became such an important part of our subconscious that the brain was in control for basically everyday life. And so it took a real shock or a real change of the common human brain structure to create things that were inspiring and different, and even scientific ideas that led to grand discoveries could come from similar places. There are actually several different studies that have been done about this. There's a guy on YouTube. I may leave a link in the description, who actually found 10 cases throughout modern history where brain damage led to genius.
Wow.
Yeah, think
Wow.
about that for a minute. Makes you wonder if the brain is really where genius comes from.
That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it's a trip. But some of the most famous artists and geniuses have been uh different, had recognized uh differences from normal human life, from your common human. So that's pretty awesome. And a lot of those differences were things like mild autism. And dude, Beethoven, guy was not even close to normal.
Oh no.
Guy
Yeah.
was so he was kind of an introvert. He was not a fan of people. And he had a lot of social anxiety that very much is like one of the biggest indicators of autism on a mild level is they know they're different. They know they don't think the way most people do. And so they don't like the rest of the world. They want to be left alone. But I mean, they find ways in their solitude of expressing themselves like Beethoven did that is just incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think I've ever heard Beethoven's music and not had a lot of strong emotion that I felt in listening to that. Um, Beethoven's music is just amazing.
Yeah. No, there is some of Beethoven's music that, yeah, I mean, it's it's crazy to think like that a person like that. I mean, he was completely and totally deaf, and like he
He
came
went,
up with
yeah.
some of the
Oh,
most beautiful and amazing harmonies. Um,
Oh my
I
word.
know
His
that.
Ninth Symphony. Yeah.
Oh,
It was written completely deaf.
yeah, and when they first played that, um, he he being deaf, he was sitting there watching the reactions of the audience, and he was freaking out because he thought everybody didn't like it because everyone
Yeah.
was crying. There was tears streaming down everyone's face, and he was like, "What the fuck?" And then when he realized, how he had inspired him, and yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Dude, have you ever listened to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony
Oh
though? I mean, I
yeah,
get that. I so get it.
oh yeah,
Like the chord progressions, the harmonies,
yeah,
it just reaches into the human heart, and there's no way I can't feel that. Like that reaches a deep place for me. There's
yeah,
something beautiful about that. Bach's organ music is the same way, dude. Those melodies and harmonies, wow.
yeah. Yeah, when someone's music has the power to inspire me at that level, and there's even been some modern artists that I've felt similar feelings, and that's something that I it speaks to me when I'm inspired at that level. That is the ultimate goal, honestly,
Oh yeah, for
for
any artist.
for an
Yeah.
artist.
And I've seen it in almost every form of art. One of my mother's sisters was a amazing painter and drawer, and even she made carvings, dude, that were just incredibly detailed and carefully made. And she made for her husband, she made this motorbike out of wood that had like, I think she said it had 63 moving parts. That thing was only about 6 inches long, but it was
Wow.
so, like, she had literally carved out pistons and cylinders
Wow.
and had like little tiny steel rods that held parts of it together. Oh, it was incredibly detailed. She would like draw each part out on paper in like a three-dimensional drawing of that she just kind of based off, and she did a lot of research, and then she would take that drawing that she could look at and just carve it out with a little tiny knife and wood. It was so good. And she did some paintings of dragons that she sold for like $7,000 on eBay, dude.
Wow,
Like, she
that's
was so
nuts.
talented, and her work was amazing. I mean, there was some of she made my mother this painting that was a harvest field, a harvested pumpkin field with a big cart of harvested pumpkins, freshly harvested. You could see some kind of the old pumpkin plants. There was a bale of hay stacked off to one side, and kind of a forest and a full moon. And it's kind of a dark painting, but it's so well done, and there's stars, and yeah, it's just beautiful. It's amazing. She gave it to her for her birthday because my mother's birthday is on October 5th.
Yeah.
So right
Wow.
in almost to the right in the middle of fall, I guess. So yeah, no, it's she's so incredibly talented, and every all of her work inspired me a lot. Like, I saw her building that stuff and I was like, wow, what could I do? Like, and I honestly did. I would build little boats and put cameras on them and send them out
I
on the reservoir,
remember
little
that, dude. I
sailboats.
remember. Heck
You remember
yeah,
that
dude.
shit?
Oh yeah.
Get some video of sailing across the high seas. Oh man,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. I remember
Oh
I was
man.
obsessed with ships as a kid, and even still, like, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Oh yeah. I've always been very passionate about creativity. I love just going crazy and creating things, and music. I remember you remember when we used to write music for our band when we were kids, our little school band thing we had going on.
Yep.
And that was a blast. I love doing that.
Yeah. It's freaking
So
awesome.
creativity is art. I love art of any kind.
Yep.
And also, I just want to point out, um, you remember our trainings, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
What came out of that, dude? What was like the number one sort of thing that comes out of all that, of going to a deep place emotionally and really being who we are and embracing our nature? It always leads to incredible artwork and even brilliant breakthroughs in all kinds of sciences. And yeah, it's pretty awesome.
yeah. Well, and it's amazing what can be accomplished by just reaching into oneself. I mean, if you look throughout history, yeah, it's you know, yeah,
Oh yeah,
definitely.
it's pretty awesome. I think that based off what I've seen of our history and how far we've come, how much we've accomplished in just the last few hundred years. I mean, there's some sort of thing happening to people for how long we've been here and how far we've come so recently. We're advancing, we're becoming more enlightened at an incredible rate. And I mean, our potential is just to consider what humankind is capable of truly awe-inspiring.
Yeah,
I mean, we're gonna go back to the moon. We're gonna put people on Mars.
dude, we're going to Titan, man. I mean, come on,
Yeah,
like,
come on, we're doing some awesome stuff. I mean, it
yeah,
really calls into question, where is the limit? Are we going to just all go into this eternal increase of everything that's good and awesome in the world,
yep.
which is the goal, I suppose? I mean, to always be learning and improving and
It's purpose of
bettering
life.
ourselves.
What's the
Or
purpose
yeah,
of life?
to learn.
There you go.
Yeah. And that's awesome, dude. You know what I do at work? Like, I have a thirst for knowledge that is so deep. I listen to audiobooks and podcasts and of real life stuff of people who have experience in their field. Um, I love it. I want to know everything that I can possibly know.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
love learning.
I love that's a great thing to bring up because like I just want to say to our listeners, I mean, dude, that's what we're all about. We both, I feel like it's fair to say that you and I both have that thirst for knowledge, and to anyone else out there that has that same thirst, I guess you could say. Um, you know, that's what we're creating here
Yeah.
is and a lot of it is we're just chilling out, sitting here talking, and but if if we inspire you, that is awesome. That's what we're doing
That is
here.
the goal. That is the goal.
And so yeah, and also if there's something that you feel like you want to hear our opinion or our perspective on, I mean, let us know in the comments, or you know email us,
Oh yeah. Oh
message
yeah.
us
Let's
on social media, whatever you prefer to do. But definitely, let us know. That's something that I know I would appreciate tremendously, is
yeah.
feedback, and if you, yeah, any
I
type of feedback.
yeah. I think the if we inspire people, and that is the goal, it'll naturally lead to starting conversation, and
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
yeah,
Um,
and this conversation has, I've been inspired by this
oh
conversation, and I feel
yeah,
like you have too, and
oh yeah, it's been a good conversation. I love it.
yeah, and eventually we can even bring people in and talk to them.
Oh,
But
we will. We
yeah,
definitely will.
yeah, but I feel like that we have a view on things, as from our perspective, in the American culture, that I feel like people want to hear. And if that's you, let us know. Even just a hey, that's cool. It doesn't matter. Like any type of feedback,
Yeah.
even a smiley face emoji or a thumbs up.
Let's
Bring it on. Bring it
Yeah,
on.
we want to engage with people.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Um, I had an idea, and if any of our listeners like this, and we could even do a listener submitted topic where we debate an issue. We take an issue with two different sides, and we could have our listeners pick what we debate on, and
Yeah.
have a section where we have a little debate. That would be fun, and then have our listeners vote on whose argument was the best, or whose side was the most prevailing in that debate,
Yeah.
which which side of the topic they came to based on our debate. And that'd be a lot of fun. I used to when I was a little kid, I used to set up with some of my friends, and we would write down an issue. We'd say, okay, we're going to take sides on this, and we're going to argue it out with common reason about why we're right, and see what we all came to a conclusion that we all agreed on by the time it was over, based on our arguments. And that's pretty cool to do that.
Yeah.
If we could bring back like a friendly, civil debating tradition into parts of the world where we have disagreements, we
Oh,
could.
especially now, in our
Oh
part of the
yeah.
world, in our time, and people may say, if you say, well, why, like, why, why us? Um, and I'll answer that by saying, we have. I feel like me and Jeremy are a pretty classic cut out of the population of the U.S. I mean, we definitely have our uniquenesses, trust me, but um,
Everyone does.
yeah, um, but we didn't we didn't go to school to learn how to debate. We're not political scientists. We're not political analysts. We don't have a degree in business. We look at things the way I feel like 75% of the American people, you know,
Yeah.
have a view
Oh
on
yeah.
that, and I feel like it's kind of cool, to to uh, to bring that view, and so yeah, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I say if you want to know the perspective of the average everyday kind of middle class American that actually has that sees and experiences the effects of all the big stories and all the big talkers, and that have a view of even that from an outside perspective, where
yeah,
we're not involved in the middle of all the big stories of the day going on, so we can look at it almost unbiased and say, hey, let's have a conversation about this. Let's not polarize the entire country, because that, I mean, and I think this is happening though. This movement of long form, reasonable conversation about issues that actually affect us today, that we
yeah,
actually do get to address,
yeah,
is picking up, and it's become far more popular, especially in our generation, than the traditional news outlets and the traditional curators of reality who bring a view of the rest of the world to people that are not involved in these big issues, that
yeah,
kind of try to unite the world by keeping that communication between large geographic areas open. And so what this leads to is people with vastly different views, vastly different opinions, moral background, places where confrontation would and can and does happen. We can sit down and have a conversation about it, find our common ground and start from there and see how we can work together.
yeah,
Because that is the goal. We've brought war to an all-time low in the world today. The amount of warfare and fighting and even death in any way has dropped to an all-time low. So we're doing something right. And that's awesome. If we can just stay on that path and remember that people who are different, people who disagree with us, are not necessarily our enemies.
yeah,
And even our enemies, we should even hear what our enemies have to say. It never hurts. If our enemy has a voice and they want to speak, I'm willing to listen.
yep.
So, well, I think that we about covered everything we wanted to in this one.
All right, yeah. I feel like
Hell yeah.
Feel
I
like,
sure love you guys out there listening.
yeah, yep. And I'll repeat, feedback is awesome. So
Feedback and support.
yeah,
We'll take it.
if you're feeling it, I don't care who you are. If just if you're feeling it, do it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And we're going to talk about a lot of stuff in the future. A lot of big issues and small issues.
yep,
So, yeah, we love starting conversation.
awesome. Well,
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Till next time, people.
All right. See y'all later.